Namaste, my beautiful friends on planet Earth. I got a lot of information through from ArcAngel Michael. As many of you know that watch the channel, I speak to ArcAngel Michael and the rest of the gang, Arcturians, Lyrans, and others here and there. But the main one I've been working with lately is ArcAngel Michael. And he'd said to me that between now and the next 5 years, reality is going to change so wildly, and it's going to be through your perceptions. Let me try and explain this clearer. In fact, I want to tell you a dream first that he gave me as confirmation for this. So I'm sitting in this dream. It feels really real. You know, the dreams that aren't really dreams. You're consciously thinking about your part in the world. And this little creature, it was like a little kind of bear monkey, came over to me and kind of lay down on my belly. I instantly took it as a threat, and I shift my energy in a combat kind of way. This little bear monkey thing stood up and looked at me with big eyes, like fearful and pleading and scared. And I'm staring at it with the intent of back off, get away from me. And this little thing is just looking at me without making any move, just looking at me like with these big eyes, like the eyes from Puss in Boots, you know, when he does the big eyes staring at you. And then this little monkey moved over to my child, my daughter, and she started dancing, looking at it, and it smiled and started dancing back. Now that was confirmation for what they've been telling me over the last week. And it started when I was slagging myself off, you know, just joking, just having a running commentary of my absolute stupidity at whatever it was I was doing. And Michael says to me, "Don't speak like that." I'm like, "But I'm just joking. I'm just having a laugh at myself." And he said, "It's really important right now that you don't even hint at that kind of attitude towards yourself. Because right now, manifestation is instant. When it comes to how you believe your world is, where your place is in the world. So if I'm thinking that I'm a fumbling idiot, then I will be that bumbling idiot. I will be it. Things in life will match that frequency output." So how he said over the next 5 years is that reality is very, very malleable right now. And it will continue to get increasingly malleable. So if I watch some YouTube show and it's giving me information, then that will be the world that I will be living in. It's that fast. If I watch something that's quite sad and alarming even about the world, then I will be in that timeline. And he's warning me every day about keeping my mind straight, and the best way to be is neutral with a hint of positivity. Because even if I'm imagining that the world's going to end and we're going to start new communities and it's going to be great, then that's the one I'll move to. But is that really where it's meant to go? Because I'm still directing that outcome. So whatever it is we're projecting ahead of us, we're actually drawing that reality, and we're going to be blending with it. On that same note, if you are perceiving other people in your life to be behaving a certain way, then they will start behaving that way. And it's not that you're controlling somebody else's free will of behaviour, it's that you're instantly snapping to a timeline that that person will behave like that. So it's really, really crucial that at this moment you are neutral in your future with a hint of positivity. So you just know that good stuff is going to happen, but you're not placing any actual event in your mind. We don't know how things are going to turn out. We can feel the future of where we are right now. And I'll tell you, every different future is going to spring from you. That might sound ridiculous, but if you know anything about manifesting, that the rule of manifestation to make it work is to have this feeling of I'm having that, and then let it go. And I'll give you an example of that as well. I was driving through to collect a fish tank from somebody who was selling it. And on the way, I remember saying, I think she's going to give me fish to go with it as well. That would be nice. Because the woman was getting rid of her fish tank. So in my mind, she had some spare fish she was also going to give me that would save me money of having to buy some. I thought it, I imagined it, and then I let it go. And then I just concentrated on driving and didn't think about it again. I got to her door, she gave me the tank, I put it in the car, and then as she went to walk away, she went, actually, do you want a couple of fish to go in that? I've got a couple of Japanese fighter fish and some guppies. Yes, thank you, that would be very nice. Now that is how it works. I didn't think about how she would give it to me. Because as soon as you start thinking about how something will come to pass, you then are trying to control how it will enter your life. And we are not the ones that can decide how it's going to come in. The universe will give it to you in whichever way it deems necessary or right. Our higher self, if you want to call it that, knows how that will come into our life in the best way that we will accept it. And it's knowing that something good is going to happen and then letting go of how it's going to happen is how it happens. So if I'm to imagine that I'm going to get a brand new car, I know I want it. I want this new car. I'm going to start thinking, how am I going to get that? How am I going to get that money? I'm going to have to start making plans, how I'm going to start saving up, how I might acquire this car. I'm going to start planning and deciding how it's going to go. And I'm probably not going to get it. But if I think, I really want a new car, okay, universe, bring it to me, and let go of how it happens, then you're keeping the path clear for destiny and fate to take their place. If you are directing that journey, it has to happen this way, and this way. It's the only way I can get this, or this. Then you're shutting the doors to every eventuality. You're deciding one road in, rather than opening the door and letting it come through whichever way it chooses. And right now, Michael said that this is how life is. Every aspect of your life. If I see somebody in the street and I make a snap decision about them, as in the visuals make me have thoughts that they are dangerous, they will become dangerous. And the importance of this, he said, is moving into, because right now he said we are actually in fifth dimensional consciousness. Maybe not everybody, but many of you listening to this will be drawn to this video because you are in fifth dimensional consciousness, and you will have noticed a massive change in your life, in your energy frequency, and how you're perceiving your world. You may notice the difference when you're meditating. Even just getting into bed and lying down and closing your eyes, you might feel that surge of energy, magnetic frequencies coming up through your feet, giving you energetic legs, opening your chakras, a beam of light shooting up through the middle of your core. I'll tell you something else that he taught me that was extremely interesting. If you're lying in bed and you're imagining a white beam of light from your base chakra to your crown, if you imagine arcs of energy coming off of that beam, it increments. So 45 degree increments. So if you imagine 45 degrees from the ground up, you have a beam of light coming out from that, and then again another arc and another arc, until it's like a 180 circle around you, coming off in beams. The closer those vectors are together, the more grounded and deep meditation you're going to have. If you just do like a 45-degree angle, 1945, you're opening up to cosmos, to source, to your guides. You're open. And it explains it as we are creating basically vectors of light, and they will reflect the universe into you. So the more space you have between each vector, the more light and energy is going to come in and make you more awake and full of vitality and have a strong connection to source. So if you're wanting to energize yourself and bring in source, then you only have 3 vectors coming off you to have the most light. If you're wanting a deep closed meditation where you're recuperating and you're making yourself sleepy, then you have as many as you can imagine coming off you. So it'd be like the hands of a clock. So if you imagine a clock going round you and you're in the centre point, then every minute you will have an arc of light coming off of you, and that will create a deep sleep sensation, a deep relaxation sensation. Give that a try. Have a meditation, open up, do the 45-degree vectors, open up and ask Michael, or ask any of the archangels or angels or guides or whoever it is you speak to give you clarification of what I'm telling you. Ask for it to be something in your life that will give you the confirmation, because it might just be something on the radio, someone says something, or it could be somebody you know says something, or you read something. They will give you clarification of this, because reality seems to be at a place now where we are in the central point. It's like the singularity, and we can take a journey out of that singularity down millions and millions of different pathways of opportunity. But if you're still living in the fear, then you will be bringing all that crap into your daily life. You will be manifesting that fear timeline. So again, neutrality with a hint of positivity. You know things are going to go good. This is another thing that Michael has always taught me. You know how things are going to happen. You know. It's an inner feeling, you know, it's your core. If you're connected into yourself and you're grounded and rooted into Gaia or Sophia, whoever it is you're connecting with now, you have absolute confirmation within your own body of how things are going to go. And I'll try and make this picturesque for you. Imagine you think of something now that you know to be true. So you know that it is Wednesday. You know that. You're thinking ahead. Today's Wednesday. How does that feel inside you? There's parts of your body that connect to truth. So when someone's telling me a story, I have certain points in my body, and for me the truth is usually down at the base of my spine to the left hand side. There's a strong feeling there when someone's telling me the truth, or top right of my shoulder. There's different places, but there's places that you know are gradients of truth. How it feels, you'll feel it in your core. So when you're looking at the future, you can do the same thing. Like, I'll have an absolute panic. My mind, which should never be trusted except for calculating maths, will have a panic that such and such thing is going to happen. And I can then, from that mental zap into my head of this thing about to happen, I will have an emotional reaction. My belly will start spinning. My heart will start racing. I will have a reaction to whatever it is I just thought would happen. And you can lose yourself right there, because you can think that because you're having the butterflies in your tummy, it must be true. However, it came from the head. If you just stop and quieten down for a second and say, do I feel that's true? Because if something bad is about to happen, you will react to it before your head does. Like the situation that happened to me with my dog, which I no longer have because of this situation. But my dog was only about 9 months old at the time, my puppy. And I'm sitting there on my phone just watching YouTube videos, and my daughter, who's only 6, was playing with her friend in the hall. It's quite a big square hall I've got. They were playing there. And all of a sudden, I jumped up and shouted, "Nobody open the front door!" And the girl stopped and looked at me and said, "But no one's at the front door." As they're saying this, I'm walking the dog to his cage and putting him in it. Next thing, the door bangs. Someone's knocking on the door. The girls looked at me, waiting, do we open it? Are we allowed to open it? And I said, I'll get it once the dog's in the cage. And I opened the front door, and there was my neighbour there come to talk to me. And her big Rottweiler came running into my hallway. It was just running about, it was just having fun. However, they have only met each other through a fence, these two dogs, and they're both alpha dogs. So if my dog had seen this dog come bounding into the house, it no doubt would have defended its territory. It would have got a fright. The girls were right in the hall, they would have been caught up in the mix of it. Now, I don't know for sure what would have happened, but the fact that I reacted before the door knocked. Now, I'm not in a place where I can see anyone come to my front door. I'm sitting with my back to the living room wall, which is the opposite side of the front door, so I had no way of knowing that anyone would knock on the door, least of all that their dog was running around the street and would run straight into my house. So I reacted on a psychic level where I was ahead of time. Could be Michael putting it into my head. He's just shot the information straight into me before my brain's had time to realise what's coming, what information has hit me. I am up reacting to it. Now, on another note, I could then have just thought, oh, what if this happens, and reacted, and nothing would happen. I could have a mind germ about anything, and this happens to my son frequently. He will get these bad thoughts come into his head that myself or my daughter's been hurt, and come downstairs and say, "Is everyone all right? I just got a bad feeling." I'm like, that is just your mind germs. That is your anxiety. Nothing's happening to us. If you're getting thoughts put into your head, quite often that's what I call heat lamping. It's something negative trying to bring your energy down, make you panic and have a reaction so they can feed that fear right off you. You will know when something's about to happen. Not from your head, but you will react before you realise you're reacting. So the same way with the world. We all know how the world's going to go. Are you waking? If you don't watch your phone, don't look at your phone, don't watch any podcasts, keep away from social media. How do you feel? If your phone's away from you and you're just walking about your house, doing your housework, or you're going to work and no one's talking about anything to do with the state of the world, how do you feel? Are you feeling quite content and happy? And quite hopeful? You maybe aren't thinking about how you're feeling, but give it a thought. How do you feel about the world that you're living in? Because we're all connected to this global consciousness. If something bad is about to happen, we will innately feel something's off inside us. We'll feel a certain amount of trepidation or anxiety, and you'd be like, but why did I feel so anxious? I've no reason to. because something is about to happen. You're always ahead of the game. Your consciousness is ahead of the game. You do know what's coming. So if you're not waking up every day sweating in a state of terror, then there's nothing terrible about to happen. And people say to me, oh, but what about the war? What about nukes? What about, nope. Do you feel it? Is it something that's banging away inside of you saying, prepare, prepare, prepare? No, it's not. That's the head, that's the propaganda, that's the fear, that's... Nothing bad will happen to you if you don't feel it's going to be bad ahead of time. We are all connected to the future and the present because it's all happening at once. Everything is happening at once. So if you're feeling trepidation, then there is something that you need to be watching out for in your life. Not from the head, because the head will trick you. The head is listening to a variety of different frequencies coming in from... You got to remember, you've got radio waves and mobile phone signals going through your mind right now, carrying information. You've got all those videos on YouTube that are on your list. They're all coming to your phone. That information is passing through you and going round you. You're going to pick up on the information carried on a subtle level without looking at it, because there's information in the airwaves. It's going through our bodies. Our bodies can read that information. So what are you feeling with no stimulus? Go to the woods. Go somewhere you can't get a mobile phone signal, and you tell me how you feel. Do you feel absolute peace and tranquility? Because things are peaceful and tranquil. And we can enter any timeline which we please. Even if we are on the timeline where Earth resets, because Earth does reset every 12,000 years, it has to. Because you can't keep farming on the same land for eternity. At some point, the sea and the land have to swap places so that you've got all that fresh nutrients from all those dead fish and sea life now as your nutrient base for your plants. And where's been over farmed will now be under the sea, being refreshed by the new sea life falling on it. It is a cycle. It is just a cycle of life, and it's nothing to fear. Because when there's end of cycles, there's also an ascension process. There's also remember, you may feel like you're living on a physical planet. This is all physical and very, very real. But in actual fact, we're all living in a simulation. And Michael's shown this to me time and time again. Ask for confirmation on this. You'll see it. You'll see glitches in the matrix. You'll see it for yourself. You don't need to share this information with anyone. You just have to know it for yourself that you're in a simulation. Because what happens in simulations, they can slide you into a different program when one's about to be updated. It doesn't mean we're going to have to live through terror and horror unless that's what you're choosing. If you want to live through the end of an age because it's something you want in your eternal experience of life. But if you don't want that, then be open to the fact that you can get switched reality at the last moment. You may see the sky going red, fire in the sky, something different happening, something strange, a strange noise, a strange frequency, the screaming in your ears gets louder, your body's vibrating. You might feel all these things. You might see on the news there's tsunamis in parts of the world, and it's really important now to not go into fear. Just to be like, oh well, I've obviously chosen how I end this simulation. I'm just going to wait and see how it manifests. Because it may be that you chose to go back to your guide. You chose to go back home consciously in your body that's now a crystalline format. And you can just teleport the hell out of there. You will go where your mind is. You will always go where your mind is. So please make sure that your mind is not in a state of fear. So on that, where are you? Where is your head at? And what are you manifesting right now?